Beautiful people, should we begin and drop into this moment together, this space that we can hold? We are going to do this for a whole year, to do every single energy code of distortion, pain. When we do this and we untangle these stories, you're going to start noticing that things around you get better. Quite honestly, there is nothing more important than this work right now. It's wonderful if we do our connecting and our meditating, and we do things to uplift us, and we eat well, and we choose to rest well, live well. All these things are very, very important. But while we're doing all that, we absolutely must do, I don't like the word must, but I have to use it here. I don't like the word have to. But there you go. It's that urgent. Must, should, have to. Release the trauma codes. It's so important. The reason we don't often just go there, just release them, because that's the easy part. The hard part is putting the wretched things down. The reason we don't put them down is because we have the sense of obligation, of burden. Those who went before us and all their immense pain and suffering and hardship, we have the sense of like, well, who am I to have a better life? And who am I to be happy? We have an ingrained assumption that life must be hard, that we got to suffer, and a lot of hardship has to come in. Then we can say, well, now I deserve this. Now I can give this to me. Truly look at that in your life. And how does that resonate? And what is your scale on that? If you could say like a 1 to 10, 1 being doesn't matter too much, 10 being the greatest, start getting a little scale going in your mind about where you are on all these issues of pain, distortion, trauma, these signals. And then notice, what is your sense of being connected to it? Do you feel like it's your burden, it's your obligation? Who am I to have the best life that I could possibly have? All those games that come in as well. So it causes a little bit of sabotaging. Then we drop again and we say, oh, there I go, sabotaging again, breaking what I really want to do, defeating myself. And we put a lot of shame and blame and judgment, and then guilt comes into that as well. Oh, gosh, and then it just goes round and round and round. All the misery just keeps going round. It's a real challenge right now, putting the stuff down. But I want you to hear this first, because this is the absolute way it works. I've been doing this for such a long time now. I just see the most incredible results. They're miraculous what happens in people's lives, because we just take ownership of a story. We bring our heart, light and love towards it. We start to release it. So I want you to think about it in this way. If we were going to climb up this huge mountain and get to the very top, get to the point, to have this grand vista that we could see and get the point of it all. If we are on this journey all the way to the top of this incredible mountain and the hardship that we've got to go through to get there, it is such a difficult journey that we can't do it in one lifetime. So our ancestors, bless their hearts, did the first part of the journey, and all that they encountered and felt, all that collapsed around them, the dangers and the horrors and the fears and the terrible, terrible struggle to survive, was all known to them. So these signals, these feelings, are like rocks, we can imagine. They're just like big rocks. So they gather them up. This is the rock that says, oh my gosh, if you look like you're not going to manage and you're teetering on an edge right now, then just huddle down and don't move, become immobile. That coding, there's a message, a code that gets sent into the energy system. So we think, well, okay, that was them, and they were in those very challenging situations, but I'm not in it, so why should I have that feeling of shutdown and terror or foreboding in my being? Why should I have that? But really, my lovelies, if you were to stand here and line up all your treasures, from the ancient ones all the way up to where you are now, And you stood there and you looked at them and you said, "Ah, there's my smile. There's the tone of my voice. There's the way I stand and hold myself. There's this, there's that." Genetically, we would see ourselves in them. We would know that we belong to this because there's genetic information that says we belong to each other. So we have this incredible connection to all the story. But my lovelies, we also have an energetic connection. Whatever they felt and perceived, suffered or endured, that is an information that they've passed on to us. Not because they wanted to punish us and make our lives feel dreadful, but because they wanted to send us a message to help us to do one thing. That's play in the game that the human species has been playing in. The one game, and that is to survive. When you see the big clouds, run for the cave, hide away. When you hear someone raise their voice in that way, become terrified or get out all your defense systems and start fighting back. We go into 3 of those limbic reactive systems. They are so embedded, so enmeshed in our energy psyche that they erupt in the moments when we feel threatened, anxious, and anything can spark it. You will know that you've got an ancestral code of pain and despair and hardship if people around you say to you, "Oh, stop being so ridiculous, don't be so dramatic, it's not so bad, why must you always make such a big thing of it?" Then you know, my love, right there, whatever you are feeling, it's not yours. Really, that is what those people are saying to you in a very ugly and clumsy, judgmental way. But they're really saying to you, that's not like you. It doesn't fit you. You're beyond that, and they can see that you are more. And so they come across a little bit angry or irritated with you because you're being too dramatic. But it's not being too dramatic. It's that you've got a signal in you that you don't really know what it's about. And sometimes you just walk into a place and you think, "Oh gosh, no, I've got to get out, got to get out quickly. I don't like this. I don't like the feeling." It might be a sense of claustrophobia or too many people or sound agitated. It signaled something, a trauma signal in you, and your being erupts. And there's just this lovely defense mechanism. So, if all of these were rocks, all these stories that we've accumulated through time, one generation got as high as they could on this mountain, took all the stuff that they could, all the warning signals, held them as like, "Oh, we must remember this." They held them and they got to the point where, "Oh, can't do anymore." They got to go now. They're at the end of their life. So what they're going to do is just pass on all these rocks to the next generation. "Here you go, my lovely. Here's all the stuff that you've got to know so that you can feel safe, so that you can survive." Generation after generation after generation, all the accumulation of every single thing that has ever been known, felt, or perceived, experienced, has been handed on. You, my love, are the inheritor of everything, every single thing from your line. Amazing, isn't it, that we're still functioning? But we've been able to filter and discern and sift out this or that. It's quite a challenge, isn't it? So no wonder we have this signal. We've got to get to the point now where we're so close to the top of this mountain. After all the enduring and suffering, the perseverance, the courage, the stubbornness, the determination of our ancestors, we are so close to the top of this mountain. As a species, we're very close. Now we are about to see, we're about to realize, and about to remember who we are. But the one thing that's stopping us from getting to the top is our unwillingness to put the rocks down, to put the burdens down. So just think about that for you. How hard is it for you to let something go? Our built-in wiring, our survival wiring says never let it go. You are testimony to that. You are holding all those codes from hundreds and thousands of years ago. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we'd let them go a long time ago? But we haven't. We've just carried them on and on and on. So imagine that you are the one here with these rocks and burdens, and you really just cannot take another step. So take a deep breath in. Do that with me now. And ask your being, so can I just let them go? Could I just put them down? Just feel in your being what you're feeling. If in your mind you could just put them down, not keep one tiny little pebble, not one memento, put the whole lot down. What would you think about yourself now? What might you say to yourself? Who am I? How could I possibly have it so easy? Life has got to be suffered and endured so that it has value. Listen to what is going on in your being. Then also know it's just a wiring. It's a wiring that helps us to stay stuck in a survival mode, which has been wonderful because it's brought us to this point in our human story. We've survived against great odds. We are amazing, resilient beings. We're still here. Pretty amazing. So if we are this amazing being, there's only one thing we have to do, and that's put the stuff down so that we can complete the journey. Could you say to yourself, I can let this go. I can put it down. I will put it down in the greatest love and honoring of the courage that all those went through so that I could survive. That we can acknowledge that we are the survivors of a species that has been very, very poorly behaved. Because we've got to this point, for the suffering, because of the great pain that those who went before endured, let us remember what we are to remember. We'll never do some things again. And all this information helps us to know what it is that we will never do again. What it is that our heart and our soul seek. Be in that now. For them, we can put it down. We are not free until we put every little bit down. Just put it down. In the lightness of this space, we can start to be again, untethered, unburdened, not beholden, not hooked in, not carrying a story that doesn't serve us any longer, free to make new decisions, to choose different pathways, to become the beings that we were meant to be, amazing beings that truly can inspire each other as we are right now. How beautiful are we? How amazing are we? Feel that in you, my lovelies. We can get to the next point. If we can get this point, put it down and set yourself free. 1 second before you put it down, you're still not free. That is your hardest game, my love, is to put it down. It's your hardest game. Play it and watch what your being does. How it screams, no, no, no. I must play with this. I must hold it. I cannot put it down. Who am I to have a good life? Who am I? I haven't suffered enough. I don't deserve it. Not yet. And because we're playing in that mentality, we are locking every single one of us in to a hostage situation where we're holding each other in a way that does not serve us or life to come or the life that is within and around us. Take a breath and let us talk about the energy of shock. That shock energy is the igniting energy field. That when we feel that impact, that collision into our energy system, the reverberation of it, the shock waves just hammer through this mind-body energy being. We can feel it in our own system. How often have you noticed when you are in a situation that is so awful and you just don't know what to do, a great shock? It is as if all your energy just runs out of you, right through, down through the soles of your feet. If you've ever felt that, you've truly felt an energy drain. Once your energy just falls out of you in that way, the next thing we can do is just stand there, deer in the headlights, overwhelmed, desperate. And so we will stand there for a little while. If you ever come out to South Africa and you go on a safari, and if you ever watch a hunt, I can't bear it actually, but if you ever watch a lion taking down a deer, we call them buck in South Africa, you will know that those buck sense that intrusion pretty much as soon as it's about to happen. They pick up their ears and their little ears twitch and their bodies start twitching, and then they start running. The one that cannot go will probably be the one that gets taken down, or the one who's too weak or too young. But at the moment when that one is being taken down by this pride of lions, at that moment the rest of the herd don't keep running away for another 5 kilometers, because the shock was just enough to spike the adrenaline, get them to run like crazy, and then stop. They honestly cannot go any further. It's like their legs get locked in and they just fall over. There's wonderful things, I think you can see them on TikTok or YouTube or one of those funny things, where they've got these goats where you go boo, and they just fall over, legs up in the air. The shock, they just fall over. And people think it's hilarious, but these poor things are just showing us what happens. These buck, these deer just stop where they are at that point, because they know that the danger has passed. And what they do to reignite their system is they put their heads down and they start to graze, not because they're hungry, but because it starts to activate their system. And you'll see their hindquarters start to flicker and their back of their legs start shivering and quivering. That is a reset. We notice that with us, how we get the shock. When we have a shock, we start shivering. And then people go, ooh, let me get some sugar water, wrap you up and hold you so you don't shake and tremor. There's a wonderful practice called TRE, where they use the psoas muscles, and they activate that in a way that is stressful so that your body can tremor and you can release shock trauma signals. It's a really, really good one to play with. I'm sure you'll find that information as well if you go and have a look. TRE. When the shock hits us, we've got to recuperate, reset this dial. And that reset is letting the story go, the pain, the trauma, the drama, letting it go. Nature does this so beautifully, without any holding on, shaming, blaming, or judgment. There's no animosity towards that lion that took that little one down. Not as far as we know. There's just a going onness of life. But if we could go on without all the baggage, without all the pain, that would be so awesome, wouldn't it? So let's recognize what shock is in our being. Let's take a deep breath in together. Then drop down through your out breath right into the center of your being. Drop, drop. And just be in the center of your being. Feel the calm, the peace, the being held. Here you are. Soften your tummy. Start to take some long breaths into your being with long, slow out breaths, sending a signal to your vagus nerve, softening your tummy, releasing and relaxing, connecting into your adrenal system, sending the message. We are calming and soothing our being. This is such a beautiful little mechanism. It really can be our reset. If we can just do this in every moment when we are hit or connecting into something that is shocking or terrifying, any trauma signal, just stop, like you are now. Become very aware of the mind and the body with a sense of wonder and awe. This being that just knows how to be here. This being that knows how to reset itself. If we could only give it a little time for that to happen. This being that wants to be empty of all the traumas and the signals that ignite us. When last did we let them go? Whenever have we let them go? We let them go in the honoring of this human form, this human species, so that we can take that next step into our evolution. It's just on time, and so are we. As we take a breath now into this being, let's bring that activation of our hands where you rub them a little bit, flick the fingers. Remember how you do this in the moments when shock comes in. Stop, breathe, soften the tummy, send that signal, and then just do a few of these little swipes where you slowly pull the energy all the way from your throat over the top of your head, down the back of your head, over your shoulders, flick it off. You might want to do this standing up, do a shake and a wiggle and a wobble. You might want to do that. Whatever you do, whatever your being says, can we do that? Say, yes, we can. We're going to release and let go of all the pain and all the trauma. And whatever shocks your system, do it for those who went before and those who are to come. Through all time, through all fields, through all dimensions. I ask now that I can release, let go of this energy of shock, horror, terror. Let go of all the signals that ignite that instant reaction. I start to release and soften all the systems in my body that rely upon me to be vigilant and terrified at every given moment so that I could survive. Take a breath and relax your tummy. Let us let go of the idea of survival. Let us let it go. It's time, my lovies, to let that story go. We'll find that we are able to be in our spaces in a less reactive way. These darling systems of ours, and all of those who are feeling they've got adrenal burnout, we hear a lot of that, don't we? It's because of that. We must empty it out. It's a wonderful time for us to remember that we hold the gift within us, the awareness. If we can start to reconsider, reprogram, rethink, and ignite the codes, the embedded codes that are in us for our expansion, our potential. They're right here in us, but let's empty out all the other debris and silly bits we don't need anymore. The greatest honor and the greatest respect for those who went before, who've brought us to this point. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, if you wish to rest into that a little longer, you're so welcome. Thank this mind and body. That's the way you do it. Just rethink, reconsider, reconnect. I'm posting these on Insight Timer. Find ways to work with your energy system. Just keep releasing. Even if you think it's not your story, release it for the collective. The more we do this, the more of us who do this, the quicker we're going to release, the quicker we're going to come into a better place in this human psyche. Be gentle with you this week. Really trust, honor, and adore your being, because we're here for something that is still to come. But we're going to empty out all the stuff in the meantime. Take care. Many blessings.